Happy Fragrant Friday, fraghead. Hey everybody, this is Ben here at That Cologne Guy, coming at you with a new review. How are you doing? I hope you are doing well, my friends. Here we are yet again on another Friday. If you are new to this channel, this is your first time watching, know that I bring new content every single Friday. And if it's a single fragrance review, I almost always accompany it with a bite-sized version in which I just kind of get down to brass tacks in 4 minutes or fewer. And then the full-length review like this one, I just am able to basically sit and have a chat with you with no time limit. Hope you're doing well. Hope you have a great weekend. And I hope you have a fragrant Friday as always. You've seen the title and the description, so you know I'm checking out none other than La Immensité de Louis Vuitton. La Immensité. This was another fragrance sent in by Jerry over at Luxe Gentlemen's Society, and I will put his website in the description box. Go on over there and check out, for all of your sample needs, check out his website. Highly professional, fantastic. And yes, I do have a coupon code over there, so you can go into TCG10 for the coupon code and get a whopping 10% off your purchase. TCG10 is the coupon code. Again, the website is in the description box. He sent this in, and I'm just going to tell you right now that this has been a fascinating week for me, because this fragrance is one of the few fragrances that has, I'll talk about it more when I do the rating, but it has the ability to kind of surpass different categories and different deficiencies. Every once in a while, there'll be a fragrance that, you know, I'll ding it here, I'll criticize a certain element, but I don't have it in me to take off a spray. So in my rating system, I have a 5-spray rating system. And at the end, I will give no halves. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Usually, if I have a point that I don't like, I will take off a spray. But in this particular case, I do have a few gripes. One is highly predictable, but I don't really have it in me to dock a spray in the rating. There's just something about this one. Okay, so let's look at the notes. Speaking of something about this one, what is in it? This is a 2018, and this is an oriental spicy, if I'm not mistaken. The nose is Jacques Cavallier Belletrud, so I've reviewed a fair amount of his work. This is an EDP. This is an Eau de Parfum. And here's what you get. And if it is your first episode, know that what I do with the notes is I like to say what I picked up, and then you can go to Fragrantica and see all the notes there are. So I'm not suggesting that these are all of them. These are just the ones I pick up. I really like the initial blast of this guy here. It's relatively linear, but I almost just wish it would just stay with the top, you know, just the initial blast. You get ginger, grapefruit, and bergamot that is just amazing. It is exceptional, and I really like the opening. It is eye-opening, no pun intended. In the mid, you get rosemary and sage, some others, but those are the ones I picked up. And then you get our old friend ambroxan with labdanum, which of course is the note that helps us along with amber scents, right? Fragrance, because there's no actual amber note. It's labdanum. Labdanum usually is the one that is used to create an amber element. Now, I will say this one. I'm going to get in trouble a little bit because you guys would always ask me to declare what it smells like. And I have to say, this one is really difficult to explain other than it's very fresh and citrusy. I know that's it's not specific enough, but it's the best I can do. And what I wrote in my notes was, this one is fresh and sophisticated. If I had to use 2 words, it'd be fresh and sophisticated. I really like the ginger, grapefruit, and bergamot blast initially. It really is eye-opening. It really is classy and sophisticated and fresh and masculine. But what it smells like is actually quite tough for me. I just love how it's blended with the ginger and the bergamot and grapefruit, especially the grapefruit. This is a very well-blended fragrance. I'm not surprised with Jacques Cavallier Belletrud, but I will say it needs to be said that this one is just very well done. Now, so those are the notes. Now, let's get into the categories. I did say this is an EDP. So when it comes to projection, longevity, and sillage, this guy here does do what you want it to for an EDP. So again, it's a eau de parfum, higher concentration, and I was very pleased at all levels with what I got from those three categories. So my longevity was very, very strong, 8 to 10 hours, maybe closer to 8, but I'm very happy with that. You will get a work shift out of this one. It's not to the finish line to 8, it's closer to 10, which is just great. Projection was much better than average. I really like that one. It is a great fragrance that projects very well. So let's just say 3 feet, 1 meter distance from the body, you're looking at pretty much like 6 to 8 hours. And then it gets closer to the skin, where maybe you'd have to reach over and say, what do you think about this one? And actually have them smell your wrist or something. But it projects very well. Sillage is another one. You will get commented. A guy at the gym, just right before I left and came here to record, stopped me, and a buddy of mine, and asked me what I was wearing. And it's going to garner a lot of attention and compliments, in my estimation. So the sillage, leaving a scent trail, walking past people, is excellent, and that's one of the strengths of this fragrance. It is just fantastic in all those three categories. Okay, so let's look at gender. This one is a very classic, clean, fresh, masculine scent. So I'm going to say the people who have it, who own it, it's their signature scent. I would say this is probably going to be like an 85-15. This is a clear masculine fresh, and I see a lot of women buying this for their man because it really is very masculine and clean and fresh. Okay, I've said that too much. So I'm going to go 85-15. 85% will be men who have this, and then 15% will be women. I do not consider this one to be a unisex fragrance. Now, age, with the niche fragrances, I usually just say 40 and up because that's the only people that can afford it. If you can afford it, I would say any age at all. I would say it is more of a gentleman's scent, so I don't know if I'd see too many like high schoolers actually full on rocking this, but you could. So I will just say arbitrarily 18 and up, but really it will come down to whoever can afford it and up. Okay, now, and there's a dupe, and I'll talk about that in a second. That's a lot more affordable, but to actually have this one, I would say 22 and up. There's just nothing really indicative of this fragrance in terms of age. This is much more specific to masculinity, I think. Okay, so let's look at seasons. This one's another fantastic one. This is another fragrance that's going to get you at least 3 seasons, and that's going to be fall, spring, and summer. I don't know that I'd reach too much. It's just so fresh and popping, right? So it's got a lot of zest to it. So I don't know that maybe winter would be the one I would, I wouldn't reach for this one a ton in the winter, but a lot of guys just wear the same fragrance every single day. You could wear it in the winter. I would associate it though more with the spring, summer, and fall. So those are the seasons. Now, and then day, night. This one, I'm not going to just say, I just think it doesn't matter. This one is great for the office, and I do feel like it has a romantic element to it. It's very attractive because it's so clean and fresh. And so I am going to say day or night. This one would be fine to go out for a romantic night out, and also the office. So that's another plus for it. I also think that I don't know if I'd go so far as to say inoffensive, but I just mean like another advantage of this one is that I really can't see anyone not liking this one unless they just don't like fragrance in general at the office. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the scent itself. This one to me is kind of like, if you had told me that this was a Maison Francis Kurkdjian or an MFK, that did Baccarat Rouge 540, I actually wouldn't, without batting an eye, I would believe that. I'd be on board. This has a very, clearly a niche feel to it. And what I mean by MFK is, his house is just superb. They are excellent fragrances. One of my favorite houses. And here's what I do on my channel. Some people put daring way, way, way above just flat out smelling great. A fragrance needs to be cutting edge. It needs to be daring. It needs to be highly original. And I put on the same level of that is just fragrances that just outright smell great. To me, it's like they're the same. So this one, a lot of people will say though that MFK is a great house, but they make great fragrances that smell fantastic, but they're not incredibly daring. I don't care. To me, they don't have to be daring. Not every fragrance does need to push the envelope. And so I'm fine with something that just flat out smells great. And this one does that. So if you had said that this was an MFK instead of a Louis Vuitton, I would have believed you without even questioning it. So that's clearly a niche and very, very well done. La Immensité. This one is way too expensive, though. That's what I meant earlier when I said you can probably predict one of my dings. I think it was like, you can look it up, but I think on their site, on the Louis Vuitton site, I think it was like $350 for a smaller bottle, and then like four something for a bigger bottle. It's just so outlandish that I'm not even going to really look at the specifics. Now, let's talk about the dupe. Jerry over at Lux Gentlemen's Society did let me know there is, and I looked at the notes before I started recording, there is a dupe by, the house is Jean Lowe, and it's called Immortal. I can't speak to that, but a lot of people have said that it is a dupe of this one, and it is 1/10 of the price. So for $30, you can get something that smells like it, as opposed to $300 and change, and more. And so, man, you and I have talked about this before, and it's just so hard for me because I personally I would even pay like $150 more than the dupe, just because I want so badly to reward the company and just get more of the the feel of getting it straight from that house. But when you consider that something is 1/10 of the price, not just 1/5, but 1/10, man, it's really difficult, isn't it, to buy something like this when you can buy a dupe for 1/10. So you guys can let me know if you can speak to Immortal by Jean Lowe. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. That said, this is one of the few fragrances that I'm going to say does not get a spray taken off, as I mentioned, because of the price. It deserves it, actually. It deserves to have a spray taken off. But there's just something about La Immensité that really, really worked for me this week. It was sent in. I think that maybe there was a spray or two that had already been had. You can see here, I did a very good job of rationing each day, and I have just enough juice to get me through this review. I mean, it was hard because I really wanted to put more on. I just really, really enjoyed this one. It worked for me, and it had the ability, rare, to have complaints, but each complaint does not equal taking a spray off in my rating system. It's way too expensive. The second thing is yes, it's not the most daring scent in the world. It's not the most original scent. So a lot of fragrance reviewers here at YouTube, a lot of people are going to say, it's just another run at the mill, blah, blah, blah. It's nothing new. I tend to be more forgiving in that regard. As I told you, I hold on equal ground the notion of being daring. Look, I've tried some daring scents that were awful. So daring doesn't necessarily mean, that I'm going to buy it. I appreciate what they're trying to do, but I'm fine with something that just really, really smells fantastic. You can make an argument. Aventus is not the most daring fragrance in the world, and yet it's the most popular currently, or was at least at one time. So this one is way too expensive. It is not the most daring, but it found a way to get 5 out of 5 from sprays this week for my rating. I just don't have it in me to take off a spray. I don't. On my way over here on the drive, I was thinking, it's really kind of a 4 knocking at the 4.5. I don't give half sprays though. And I just thought to myself, this is what a 5 out of 5 looks like and smells like. And I'm going to give it a free pass on the fact that it just is outlandish with its price tag. And I will look for a tester, or I will simply get the dupe, the copy, if you guys say that it's worth it and or smells just like it. It's just really, really fantastic niche juice. I think a lot of people are going to give this a 4 out of 5. What can I say? It just works for me. Love this thing. Sad to see it go. 5 out of 5 for L'Immensité Louis Vuitton. Absolutely loved it. Let's go 1 on each wrist, 1 on each side of the neck, and 1 on the creator emblem for those metalheads out there who know who they are. Here we go. A whopping 5 out of 5 sprays for L'Immensité 2018 Eau de Parfum by Jacques Cavallier Belletrud. Man. And there you have it. 5 out of 5 sprays for this fragrance. Revolutionary? No. Cheap? Inexpensive? Certainly not. But man, this one is just out of this world. 5 out of 5 sprays for L'Immensité. I hope you have a wonderful week. Please take care. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And always remember, my friends, fragrance marks the celebration of today. Take care, everybody. Okay, so welcome to the bonus feature. I just have 2 points to note for you. I actually didn't have really any bloopers of note. So in this bonus feature, I'm going to talk about 2 points. After I stopped recording, I did want to give you the specifics on the price. I went to the Louis Vuitton site, and it is 345 smackers for a 3.4 ounce 100 milliliter, and it is a whopping $485 for a 6.8 ounce 200 milliliter bottle. So 345 as opposed to 30 something for the dupe. Again, 1/10 of the price. It's certainly, they make it difficult to stay loyal to the niche companies. So that was the price. The other thing I did want to mention too, just very quickly, is it does mean immensity, right? La immensité. You probably figured that, and I just wanted to note that in French, that's why it has the apostrophe. In French, when you have the word the, and then the next word starts with a vowel, you put an apostrophe. So that's why it's la immensité. And I don't know if that's the right pronunciation, but it's close enough. But it does mean immensity. And you probably figured that out. But either way, I wanted to mention the price and the little note on French grammar. Take care of yourself.